Yo, sup? So I finally had a decent amount of time to sit down with, well, stand up with this headset. So I feel like now would be a pretty good time to do a first impressions video. I'd want a little bit more time with the headset to do a full review, but I've had this about 2 weeks now. I've probably put maybe like 45 hours in the headset so far. So I feel like I can give a pretty decent first impressions take on this at the moment. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. The specs. I'm not really a super tech nerd, but it's got 2560 by 2560 resolution per eye at 6.5 million pixels per eye. It's got a 108 degree horizontal field of view and a 95 degree vertical field of view with a diagonal field of view of 119 degrees. Sorry about that, I actually had to look on my computer screen behind me to get the stats. I definitely don't have them memorized, but what that all boils down to is a really crisp picture. The coolest thing, the biggest selling point to this is it's lightweight, super lightweight. It's 107 grams. Anecdotally, this is a Quest controller. To me, it weighs about the same as a Quest controller, maybe a little bit heavier. This is an index controller. The index controller actually weighs more than the headset. So that's pretty interesting. So about the binocular overlap, I'm probably not the best judge of that, because a lot of people complain about it with the Quest 3. I never noticed it. I never really noticed a dead spot in the center of my vision. Same with this, didn't notice it at all. Like I said, there might be people who are more sensitive to that. I'm not one of them. So take that for what it's worth. All right, so now that we've got that out the way, it's time for the real elephant in the room, and that's gonna be the price, right? It's not cheap, it's not a cheap headset. I'm looking at the website right now, and it's $1,019, and that's just for the version without the eye tracking like I got. If you wanted the eye tracking, you can actually tack on a couple $100 more, and I'll say that's one thing that the Quest really has on this. I mean, you get the whole headset, the Quest 3, you get the whole headset, you get the controllers with the inside-out tracking and everything. $500, you're done. This. Not only is the price of the headset $1,019, but you also have to buy. I'll actually just show you my setup in just a second here. But you got to buy the index controllers right here. Okay, yeah. So these controllers, for both of them, it's $279, right? So the base stations, which I'll show you in just a second, are $149, $150 each. You want 2 base stations. That's $300 right there. And at the moment, unfortunately enough, I'm looking at Steam's website right now, and they're out of stock for the base stations. So you're looking at quick math. I usually don't do math in public, but I'm gonna do it for you guys. You're looking at around $1,700 if you don't already have the base stations and the index controllers. You're looking at, and that's if you don't want the eye tracking. You're looking at closer to maybe like $1,900 or a couple $1,000s after taxes if you want the eye tracking version. So something to consider. I will say though that the lighthouse tracking is a lot more accurate. It's a lot better. It's a lot tighter, in my opinion, than the inside-out tracking that the Quest 3 has. You can actually put your hand behind your back, put it pretty much anywhere close to your face. It doesn't matter. As long as you're in view of those lighthouses, it's gonna track. And I noticed, because I play a lot of VR shooters, whenever I would go to shoulder the weapon or whatever, if I put my hand too close to my chin with the Quest 3, I would lose tracking. Not the case with these things. And matter of fact, let me show you guys that real quick. So I'm going to use probably the phone's microphone now, so I apologize for that. This right here, right above my PC, is where the first lighthouse is. I did have it over here on that corner of the window. It did not pick up great. It did not pick up great at all. I had to adjust that. I was losing tracking like a mother when I had it over here. So right here, it's good. And at my 6 o'clock right here is my other base station. You can see that there's a cord, it goes down, and you plug it into an outlet. But really, if you do it like 12 and 6, I find that is the best tracking. 12 and 6, not like, I don't know, 6 and 2. So yeah, honestly, so that's how we're gonna have to do it, right? That's how I'm gonna have to play this. My first impression of this headset was the friggin' price, dude. $1,000 and then all that included, it was the price. That was my first impression. When I actually got the headset in my hand, my first impression was, man, this thing looks sleek and futuristic, and holy hell is this thing light. If you watched the unboxing video, you saw that. My first impression of the headset, very light. So I can read stats off a website all day long. But let me tell you how it actually looks, or describe it to you as best as I can. So when you first put the headset on, you fire up the game, whatever game you're playing. You're gonna be taken aback because this headset has OLED panels, which is great. I would assume for like spooky games, like scary games where the blacks matter. The blacks are really friggin' black. They're like pitch black in this. I don't know if you've noticed, but like if you've got a Quest 3 or whatever, those are different panels. And the blacks are kind of like gray wash almost. Nah, not in this case. Especially if this gasket, this face gasket, is like 100% right. There is no light bleed whatsoever. It is dark. And that is something I had to get used to, actually, believe it or not. I tried cranking up the brightness a bit because I wasn't used to the darkness, and because it was like, coming from a headset like the Quest 3, where it's so bright, this is something you're used to, you know? I don't know. To me, it seems like it might not be as healthy for your eyesight. I don't know. But I do know, like I said, this is a lot darker. So what I did originally, I guess, to try to like bring it back to something that I'm sort of used to, was you can actually crank the brightness up. It comes default to like 100%. I cranked it up to 125. And I'm gonna tell you, what I noticed when I did that was not good. I noticed more glare. Say it's like an overall dark scene or whatever with like one bright thing, like I don't know. It's like when I load up Contractors, Showdown, or Xfil's on or whatever. It's a really dark backdrop with the white lettering. I noticed extreme glare when I cranked the brightness up. So eventually what I did was I put the brightness back down to its default, which is 100%, and I just got used to it. It'll take about a day, or it did for me, but honestly, once I got used to it, I would say that it is better than the Quest 3. Speaking of getting used to things, holy, these controllers, this took me longer to get used to. These rings or whatever right here really get in the way. It's like, you'll have to like, in the game that I play mostly, which is Xfil's on, you gotta like bandage bleeds or whatever. So you grab a bandage and you gotta do that, right? I've smacked these rings together so many times, it's unreal. But once you get used to it, it's cool. They're weighted very well. I think that this is a really solid controller, actually, now that I'm used to it. But you'll notice big difference between these two controllers is this actually has a grab button right here. Trigger your grab button, and you can kind of hold on to this controller with these two fingers right here. You can grab with this, and it feels more like a controller than anything, you know? So with this, it's not the case. This here is like a sensor for all your fingers, pretty much. So you can't really do that, right? If you do this, you're grabbing. That's something you gotta break yourself from. If you do this, you're grabbing. You do this on the Quest, you're not grabbing until you actually hit the button right here, right? But it's got individual finger tracking, which means you can flip people off. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just something to get used to. I find that these are more intuitive now that I'm used to them. I actually like these more than the Quest controllers, which is not something that I could have said probably the first 2 days of using them. So just get used to them. Let's talk about probably the most alluring part of this headset, which is its comfort. Not sure if you're new to the channel. If you are, welcome. Consider a subscription. If you don't mind, I would appreciate that. And anyway, I do a lot of VR shooters. I do a lot of streaming on YouTube. Before I even got the audio strap in, which I did finally get in, I'll touch on that in a second. I had this right here, just the regular strap. Pretty easy to strap in. You got an over the head strap, and you got two. Here you got one strap that sort of encompasses your entire head. So take this thing off. Pretty much fits on like this. There you go. You can tighten up these two at the back to make it closer to your face. If you do not have an audio strap, you'll have to use some other type of audio solution, like this guy right here. That's actually what I use because I just freaking refuse to go and buy a headset that would be better because I already had this on hand. Not spending any more money. I've spent enough on this setup. So, and that was comfortable enough, believe it or not. I actually did a 7.5 hour stream of Xfil's on, which is my longest stream, by the way. I don't know if I could have done it with the Quest 3. And honestly, the only reason I stopped playing X-Full Zone was because the controllers died, which is another thing, by the way. You have to charge these, okay? There's no batteries. You have to keep these damn things charged. But like I said, it lasted for about 7.5 hours, which I would assume would be longer than most people play. And yeah, dude, 7.5 hours right here. Dude, I felt no neck strain, no eye strain, no discomfort whatsoever. And keep in mind, when I did that, that was when I backed the brightness down back to its original setting. So that might have helped with any possible eye strain that I would have had if I would have jacked it up. But either way, dude, I had no neck strain. I could barely tell that I was wearing this thing. 7.5 hours, man. The comfort is nuts. But yeah, by the way, that stream's up on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's the only one that is that long, so it should be easy to find. Yeah, bro. So I mean, comfort bar none. This is I've used a PlayStation VR 2, a Quest 3. I'm pretty new to VR, and then this. And I gotta tell you, man, hands down, this, I could wear this thing all day. And I kind of did, really. I mean, and it's like using the Quest 3. It's like having a brick attached to your face. But yeah, with this thing, whipping your head around, those quick motions like that, do nothing to it, man. I would, if you're a streamer, you play a ton, yeah, this thing's for you, man. This thing's for you. All right, and BT dubs, this headset does have, I'm gonna take these straps off, they're kind of annoying to deal with. It does have a 72 hertz and a 90 hertz option. That's another thing that I probably could have mentioned in the specs. I kind of just thought about it, so forgive me. There is a difference, man. It comes default with I think it was 90 hertz selected. I can't remember. I think that's what it was. I dropped it down to 72 hertz because that's native resolution for it. So you get the full pixels per eye. There's a difference. There is a difference. So 72 hertz is noticeably clearer. Unfortunately, and I might not have that binocular overlap sensitivity, but I definitely have frame rate sensitivity. I noticed a change in frame rate. Like I noticed a drop, like a significant drop, like it was more stuttery when it was at 72 hertz. I don't know if that's my PC. I'll flash my specs up on the screen right now. No, I'm just kidding. Here they are. So I don't know if this is my PC. Probably not. I have a pretty decent PC, but I cranked it up to 90 hertz, which downscales the resolution. It like downscales it and then upscales it or something. I'm not sure. But when I played 90 hertz, that's for me. You can tell that it's not, the quality isn't quite as sharp, honestly, but it's really good. I would say that 90 hertz is probably on par, if not a little bit better in terms of clarity, just straight up resolution to the Quest 3. And you get a much smoother experience. And I'm kind of competitive, so frames win games, dude. So if I have an option to get better frame rates, that's probably what I'm gonna go with. And one final thing I'll touch on in terms of comfort, I know I mentioned I did a 7.5 hour stream with the regular strap. I did end up getting the audio strap for this, and holy crap, that's a game changer, man. It's a lot more comfortable even than that strap and the headphones that I was using. I would definitely recommend spending here's another cost, so consider this, spending the $130 extra to get the audio strap. And by the way, speaking of more costs that are potentially hidden, if you got screwed up eyes, you need prescription lenses. I don't, thank God, my eyesight's really good. But if you do, they snap in here and they're like 80 bucks. So that's something else to consider. You might be in for well over $2,000 if you buy this thing. So think about it. But I got the audio strap and that thing is great. It's weird to get used to. Once again, it's kind of the story of my life with this new VR setup. But it's weird to get used to because the cup actually cups like the top of your head. Super strange. But no, super comfortable, man. I can play in that thing all damn day. So who is this thing for? I would say VR enthusiasts. Probably. Obviously, you got to have a PC. I mean, this is not a standalone thing. If you want a standalone headset, get the Quest 3. You can't beat it at the moment. As of August 2025, it's hard to beat. So yeah, just think about it. You're going to be in for a good amount of money. I mean, between the PC itself, the headset, I mean, it's a money sink, right? So I'd say for PC VR enthusiasts, people who have maybe more disposable income, if you've got like a $500 budget, this thing's not for you. Get a Quest 3. Quest 3 is good, man. Hey, I can't say enough, dude. I can't sing its praises enough. I've played that thing for like a year and a half straight. Good visuals. I mean, yeah, you get a little bit of next strain if you stream for a long time or you play for a long time, but at its price point, you can't beat it. But this thing's great. This is going to be my daily driver, 100%. I like the visuals. It's clear. I like the 90 hertz option, the frame rate. That's something else to consider too. You can actually get, I think, 120 hertz with the Quest 3, so potentially more frame rates. But this is really good. It's going to be my daily driver. Those are my first impressions, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If it's helped you at all, let me know. I know that a lot of you are still out there waiting. You're still out there waiting for your Bigscreen Beyond 2. Fret not. I waited 5.5 months, and I gotta say, it was worth the wait. Peace.